been quality games.
Or if it's
We're
more
live.
like
They've been quality.
we have these guys who we know that they can't really beat us. We've given them two games. Well, I can't say that they gave them the last game, but they did have the upper hand for a lot of the clutch moments. It was the Raptors making a play to stay in the game or to take the lead. The Celtics were the team that were leading most of that time, or most of the
they went on a
clutch
drought.
moments. Yeah, exactly. So, you look back to Game 3, man, they had them dead to rights. And then a newbie makes a game-winning shot with 0.7 seconds left on the clock, and then we find ourselves here today in Game 7, or tomorrow is going to be Game 7. But what a series! What a series! This is the best series so far in the playoffs. I have to say, yes, last night's game might be the best game that I've seen in the playoffs. There's another game I think that went on. I can't remember which one it was. I'm blanking out.
I think that Luka game winner game was.
Oh, the Luka game winner game. Yeah, that was pretty good. Game 1 or 2 of
this
that.
This is the best game in the series.
Oh yeah, this was the best game.
And this is the best series. You're right. And it's.
What was that, Justin?
All right, we're gonna start it off.
You're coming in and out, Justin.
Am I so good, Ben?
Yeah, you're good, but
we're live both on.
It's Justin that's coming in and out.
Let's get it going, guys.
All right. Let's do it.
Yeah, they did.
You guys been keeping up with tennis? I know I only watch tennis a couple times a year.
I think Serena's going to lose tonight.
Yeah, I see a lot of people on the other lady that she's going up against. I can't pronounce her name properly. Bertens, there you go. I see a lot of people taking her. And it's just hard for me to go against Serena, especially since she's right on the cusp of – is she on the cusp of tying the all-time record or breaking the all-time record for most majors? Yeah, so I think she's going to tie it with this one if she gets it, if I'm not mistaken. But no, the funniest thing – oh, man, I don't know. I feel bad laughing for it, but I'm not going to lie. I was laughing with my brother about the Novak Djokovic kind of mishap.
Wasn't that wild?
Yeah, well, I kind of said, I was like, hey, like, if you're on the court, gotta keep your eyes open at all times.
For sure. But that was pretty bad too, though, bro. Like, he wasn't even looking at the direction that he hit it in, nothing. He just kind of, and it was like right off of the throat, like.
Yeah, and so, to her defense, it's like, I'm not supposed to be looking out for this guy randomly getting mad and hitting the ball or whatever.
The point was over already. She should be out of harm's way.
So I guess, are you fine with the disqualification, or do you think that's excess? I think it's excess. I don't think he should have been kicked out of the tournament.
I'm upset with the result. It was. You can tell the intent was not there.
Yeah,
I don't think there was intent. I don't think that there was intent. I don't. Yeah, but I wasn't watching the match, so I don't know if that linesman or lines lady was doing a bad job or what the deal was, but it didn't look like there was any intent. He just wasn't looking.
Yeah, no, he wasn't looking. He got mad and he just spiked the ball and hit her in the neck, and she almost died or started convulsing. So my thing is, hey, just keep your eyes open. Keep your eyes open this whole time. You're not supposed to be waiting for that to happen, but you never know. In the famous words of Floyd Mayweather, if you're in the field of play or the ring, you got to protect yourselves at all times. Protect yourselves at all times. Quoting Floyd Mayweather is probably not the best thing to ever do in any circumstance, but kind of makes sense to me here. Like, hey, keep yourself protected at all times, please. So I don't know. That's just crazy. Brings more eyes, I guess, to the U.S. Open, but I can't imagine a lot of people are going to be keeping up with the men's tournament going forward now that the big dog like Novak is out. Maybe they're I don't know. Is there another big name that's still left in the men's side? Like I said, I really don't watch tennis. On the men's side,
it's open now. I think Nadal's out too.
Yeah, it's that younger guy, Medvedev, or he's
Shapovalov. That's a name that I've seen a lot.
German.
And Eddie's saying a rule is a rule.
I guess he's okay with him getting kicked out then.
That's your stance on the COVID and Daniel House situation, Roland. A rule's a rule.
Hey man, I'm glad they're adhering to it. If they didn't, if they didn't do it, I mean, come on, what would happen if they let this slide? You know, COVID can get itself into the bubble. I don't know. I'm just glad that they're taking all of the necessary precautions here to ensure that the playoffs keep on going on without a hitch. I mean, you can't risk it. What would happen if somebody got COVID off of this? I don't know. I think it's a crazy situation just because of all the facts that seem to be trickling in with, hey, Daniel House was never caught on camera. The girl really didn't even
She named Tyson Chandler. Tyson Chandler came out and said it was me.
But I just don't know how House gets implicated in all of this. It just
because his door
opened 11 points a game.
Overnight.
What's that?
Because his door opened overnight.
Why would it open overnight? Was he trying to go to the ice machine?
Either that or he was trying to go to the vending machine. You know, he likes munchies, or he heard somebody knocking on Tyson Chandler's door and went out to see who it was.
Man, I don't know. It's a little – I think they're both involved, Tyson Chandler and Daniel House, but I guess just House's name as being like a key role player in the series.
They're not the Thomas brothers.
Is what's going to drive the viewership and get people to this story. But Rockets fans out there, you guys feeling a little under attack here? Feel like
hey, they could have just given us the easy way out and just thrown Scott Foster out there a couple more games. But no, go and ruin a man's life.
Let's talk about that Scott Foster situation, because when he was repping, y'all had more free throw attempts than us anyway. So just bury that already, bro.
He had 13
that doesn't make sense.
The Lakers, 5 for the Rockets, bro.
Y'all had more free throw attempts that game.
That's all they had to do was just send Scott Foster out there, not ruin this man's marriage.
Is this a series-altering suspension?
Well, he's our first guy off the bench.
It's an asterisk now.
Oh,
remember.
It's 11 points a game. 11 points a game.
McLemore getting some playing time and actually hitting a shot.
All right, well, you guys have it here now. If you guys weren't paying attention to the last podcast, we were specifically talking about how confident Mr. Diaz was over there in his Rockets jersey and their prospects. And I said, hey, I don't want to start hearing any change from your tone here, because you were pretty confident coming into the series, and rightfully.
I thought we were going to have Daniel House.
I can already sense it. I can already sense there's a change in
for the Spurs, and they were taking out one of their players. You would be livid, bro.
But I'm
not. I know the cool thing to do is hate on the Rockets, because it's like,
I'm not hating. I'm just saying, hey, you were fairly confident.
Not right though, isn't it? Isn't it innocent until proven guilty? Isn't that the way things work? What happens now if they come out tomorrow and they say, "Oh, you know what? Daniel House was right. He was never a part of it, and so he missed 2 games for what?"
Thank you, India. Here come the excuses.
Yep. For what, Justin? Look, Justin froze up.
So look, I get all that you're saying. You just have to take the proper precautions. Even if Daniel House wasn't involved, you just have to take those precautions.
They quarantined the whole team before game 3. No wonder we played like shit.
You have to do that. I'm sorry. I mean, the same thing would have happened if it were J.R. Smith getting into this situation. Same thing would have happened. So,
while we're speaking on this, today's game is very critical, because if we win today, Lakers winning, you got to think that's it. There's no way.
Stick a fork in them.
Rockets going to win 3 games out of the last 3 like that.
If they get Daniel House back, I don't know.
Is that correct?
If they get Daniel House back, I don't know.
What does Joby think? Does he think Daniel House is the game changer?
Joby thinks Lakers in 5. Like Richie. Joby thinks Lakers in 5.
I like that pick.
Joby called Thunder in 6 against the Rockets.
He was almost right.
Job's 5 was a common pick, bro.
Tell him when I said it, though.
I don't know. When the series started? When the series started?
When I said it. When did I tell you?
I don't know. Every time I watch a game with you, you tell me the Rockets are going to win that night. But you hate on that.
No.
All right. You heard it here first. This guy's the ultimate Sal. So Lakers fans, beware. All right.
After game one. After game one.
What, Lakers in 5? He said after game 1.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Joby claims he had the Rockets winning game 1.
Oh no, he did. He texted me on Twitter.
I told you game 1 and 5 on the podcast.
We're gonna win game 1. He did say that. I remember.
He says you said it. He says you said it. Like, relax. Like, you're gonna be fucking wrong.
I have the receipts. I have the receipts.
Don't blow your load in the first quarter here.
But I don't know. I mean, what were we really going to? Personally, after watching the Rockets and Thunder series, I thought that was a pretty good indicator of kind of what to expect coming into the Rockets and Lakers series. Now, the Rockets did win game 1, and I think it wasn't what I kind of said when I tweeted out. I was like, hey, Lakers in 6. I'll give the Rockets 1 or 2 games where they shoot the Lakers out of the gym. But I don't think they necessarily shot them out of the gym in game 1. I just think they played stellar defense. And I think that's where a lot of the Rockets' chances, I think, at staying in the game lies is with their defense. Yeah, they're small. They lose some on the boards, but they've been playing solid defense. They're a top 10 defensive team in terms of metrics in the NBA right now. And it's kind of hard to believe that when you have a guy like James Harden, who's perceived to be a bad defender on the team. But if you watch the Rockets as closely as Ben does, and as I've had the pleasure of watching James Harden, I like watching Harden play, but he does have his deficiencies in terms of clutch moments, which I still think are there. But he's a good defender when he wants to lock in. He
just shut down LeBron right now.
He's
7-7, Josh.
He can play defense for sure. So I think that's a false narrative that's out there, which is just it's fun to, like Ben said, it's fun to poke fun at the Rockets sometimes. But make no mistake about it, they're a good defensive ball club, and I think that's what gives them the best chance to win because they are not a good 3-point shooting ball club. They're not. They shoot volume, but that doesn't always mean they're going to go in, and that's the case a lot with this team. I think Eric Gordon barely started making threes last game.
50% from the line with the guard.
And for me, that's probably been the biggest surprise. I didn't see the Rockets being the best playoff defensive team. I didn't see that going into the playoffs. And
a D'Antoni team playing defense. I mean, I don't think anybody.
I think a lot of it has to do with their ability to switch 1 through 5 with their lineups. Yeah, they give up on the rebounds, but 1 through 5, you have a guy that is pretty quick laterally, and it's not going to get beat off the dribble more times than not. So
they invite the post. It slows down the offense.
Mm-hmm.
Then is Robert Covington out?
It's easier to double. But honestly, what changed the series was the Lakers just deciding to double after game 1. They played Harden straight up game 1, and he kind of had his way. And since then, it's just been double teams being thrown at him. And they didn't even start JaVale McGee today. Dwight Howard hasn't played in 2 games.
Nope. So Dwight Howard's out of the series.
They're playing small ball. JaVale McGee's out as well because he didn't start today.
I guess they finally
got a question. Robert Covington, is he out for the game today?
No, he's in.
I guess they finally convinced Anthony Davis that playing the 5 is okay.
Yeah, I guess he –
Does he have to wear a mask today?
No.
Robert Covington was hurt.
Broken nose.
He had a potential concussion, I think.
Yeah, but he's playing. He's in.
I heard he had a broken nose. I'm just looking to see if he has a mask.
He might be concussed. He had a turnover already.
Anthony Davis has really stepped up his game, I think, in the past couple of games as well. He's just been a dominant force. I thought the first 1 or 2 games, he was falling in love with that mid-range pull-up a little too much, just giving way to the defense and bailing them out. I mean, he was hitting them, don't get me wrong, but he was taking a lot of tough shots where I thought he could have worked his way a little bit more into the paint. But Anthony Davis has always been more of a finesse player, so I guess it doesn't surprise me too much that he doesn't like backing down too much. But definitely has had his way with his defense.
I know. You say if we play big, you lose the series, but that was the whole thing about the Lakers all year. Oh, they have 2 7-footers. They're the big bad Lakers. Oh, nice pass.
Yeah, but these are also the coach that can make the adjustments that he did after game one.
Oh, I know, but let's not get it wrong. People laugh at small ball, but here are the Lakers playing small ball. I mean, I know Anthony Davis is a 7-footer, but it's small ball for the Lakers.
It's their version of small ball.
It's their best.
Yeah, I wouldn't say full on small ball. Their version, maybe.
Right, but I mean that's not how they play.
That's
like
the flexibility that Anthony Davis
setup.
Anthony Davis can guard 2 through 5. Maybe he'll struggle with some point guards out there, but for the most part, he's fine switching on to almost anything. So, yeah, Anthony Davis, his versatility allows the Lakers to do that. Probably their only big that allows them to do that, because as Ben said, Dwight Howard hasn't been playing, and JaVale wasn't in the starting lineup today. So they're going to be losing playing time, and who knows when they get on the court, to be honest, because both teams or whoever comes out of the East plays fairly small also. You saw the Raptors went 5 guards yesterday and we're playing a newbie, OG Anunoby or whatever at the 5. Yeah. I don't know if you guys caught that. They were tossing alleys to Tice like there was no tomorrow. And after one of the last alleys, before OG came back and hit that 3 to put them in the lead, he had just given up an alley-oop to Tice. And then you see on the sideline, Serge Ibaka was losing his shit because he's the guy that gets swapped out and all of that. When a newbie plays a 5, it's Ibaka who has to sit. He was losing his shit, threw his water bottle on the floor, is walking, goes off the camera, and then 5 seconds later, OG comes back and hits a 3. And it's like one of those things, because I can remember it myself, like playing basketball, like somebody chunks up a stupid shot and you're like halfway through, you're like, oh my God, why'd you take that shot? And then it goes in and you're like, oh, okay, it's not so bad. It's not that big of a deal. He took a stupid shot. It went in. But yeah, it was pretty funny seeing Serge Ibaka react like that and then see OG come up clutch for their team. But that's something to keep track of for Game 7 and beyond. I think we're going to see a lot of small ball lineups coming out of the East. And it's going to be interesting to see how the teams from the West, whether that's the Lakers, the Rockets, or I guess the Rockets would be already adapted to the small ball, but how the Lakers and Clippers would potentially match up with a team like the Heat, the Celtics, or the Raptors, who go 5 small, similar to the Rockets.
So my question is, do you think we see any overtime tomorrow in that Raptors-Celtics game?
I don't know about overtime, but we're going to see a hard-fought game.
Game 7, I don't know, man. Anything is possible. Game 7.
Oh yeah,
but sure. Back-to-back overtimes would be.
I think
crazy.
Someone falls out. I think it's going to be chippy. We'll get some chippiness to it for sure.
And
I mean,
Dice
at the end of the
actually
game, Marcus Smart was on and off.
Dice has played pretty good for the Celtics,
center?
man. Yeah, he's been big.
Yeah, he has. He's been getting some oops.
Yeah,
Gasol's washed. Gasol's done. Marc Gasol's. This better be his last year in Toronto because he's just draining.
What's really left of him other than a few rebounds, maybe?
He kind of fell off the cliff in terms of his production from one year to the next. So I remember him being a perennial all-star in Memphis. But it's kind of just
so he, who won that trade? Do you think Valanciunas or?
That's a good question. Because Valanciunas, he's contributing a little bit, I guess, with Memphis, giving them some decent minutes. But I think it's a pretty decent trade either way. The trade that they were talking about yesterday that I thought was interesting was how the Raptors ended up with both OG Anunoby and Norman Powell. They got the trade to Norman Powell's draft rights on draft night from, I'm going to butcher the team. I want to say it was the Hornets, and they also got the pick that became OG, and that's the Grizzlies. It was for Grievous Vasquez, essentially, is what they traded. Grievous Vasquez, man. They traded Grievous Vasquez, and they got the draft rights to Norman Powell and the pick that ended up being OG and an Anunoby. So they were bringing that up as one of the better. The Bucks. There you go. The Bucks. So yeah, the Raptors, they won the shit out of that trade. That's for sure. The Raptors have been winning trades, man. Shout out to their GM. He knows exactly what he's doing. I know we were talking about him a couple of weeks ago with the case that he's been enthralled in with the whole thing that happened last year with Golden State. But man, he has to be in conversations as one of the better GMs or president of basketball ops that there is in today's NBA. Definitely. Definitely. Like that
I'm
guy.
trying to think.
Even the rental, they look like geniuses right after that.
Yep, and you know who's over there cheering on Toronto? Kind of feel bad for him because of all the success that they've seen after that. After he got shipped off. DeMar DeRozan. He was the first one congratulating Kyle Lowry on Twitter yesterday. Like, I wonder how he feels seeing as soon as he leaves, his team, is able to get over the East. Is still doing. I think if DeMar's on this team today, they're still doing some of this stuff. I don't think that they win the title like they did last year because Kawhi is Kawhi. They're not the same kind of player. But we're seeing the success that the Raptors are having this year, and that's with all of the talent that was around Kawhi last year. So you got to think DeMar there right now, they'd be having some success as well. But who do you got? Who do you got tomorrow, Justin?
Game 7, Josh?
Yeah.
Initially, my first pick, and this series has made a fool out of me because my first pick was the Raptors. Then it was 2-0 Celtics. I come on the podcast, say it's a wrap, it's over. They're never going to come back. And now we got an even series. So either way,
you're breaking up, Josh.
Yeah, you broke up there completely.
But I'm going to go with the experience. Fuck it. I'm going to go with the experience.
And, much like Justin, myself, going into the bubble, I picked the Celtics as my dark horse out of the East. Halfway into the bubble, or at least like through the first round of the playoffs, I was like, yo, the Raptors look really, really good. I'm switching my pick to the Raptors. But then we get into the series, and I'm like, holy shit, the Celtics are doing it. The Celtics are doing what I thought they were going to do. Holy crap. Let me go back. And I did. And that's where I'm staying. I'm just going to stick with the fucking Celtics. I have a ticket for them to win the championship. I'm jinxing myself right now by even bringing that up. But that's where I'm going. Sticking with the Celtics. They were who I wanted to win out of the East coming into this thing. I flopped a little bit. But I'm going to say that the young guys get it done. Yeah, they are young, but they have a lot of pit bulls on that team. A lot of guys that I think have strong mental fortitude in terms of Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart. So hopefully they come to play. Jason Tatum kind of had an off game last night, so you got to think that doesn't hold true in a Game 7. You got to think Jason Tatum's going to come ready to play. But they do have some guys to throw at Jason Tatum. Like he was having trouble getting by OG yesterday in the fourth quarter. And then the other one that had a bad game that we haven't talked about yet, we mentioned him a little bit, Kemba. Kemba played horrible. He didn't even score 10 points. He only had like 7 points yesterday. So you got to think that improves.
Good look at the game winner.
Good look at the game winner for sure. But you got to think Kemba comes with more than 7 points. So that's where I'm going to go.
Pretty weak thinking about it.
Let's go Celtics. Celtics Game 7. Luck of the Irish. Let's go. And then we got the matchup that we've all been waiting for on the podcast. The Celtics versus the Heat. If that happens, it's going to be a pretty exciting podcast next week. Looking forward to that, definitely. But let's get through tomorrow first. But hey, there's something else going on. Ooh, Gene. There we go, Gene. He's got Celtics winning tomorrow. I like that.
I'm gonna ride with Kyle Lowry.
And so there's something else going on tonight. Pretty big deal, I'd say. I'm surprised. Ben, I thought you were gonna do like a Rockets jersey on top, the Texans jersey under, and then the Rockets.
This basketball game is just way more important.
Okay, well, I mean, you're already baking in that loss, right? That was part of the 0-4.
Has the basketball game, and the second TV will have the football game until the basketball game ends.
Josh has the West winning the championship. I like that. So he's going to either of the 3 teams that are in there right now. You can't argue with that. You can't argue with that because if it's the Celtics or the Lakers, not Celtics or Lakers, Lakers or the Clippers, you got to think they're going to be favored heavily in whatever series they end themselves up on.
Or end themselves up. Oh, get on that poster.
So we all had the fantasy football draft a couple days ago. Nobody shared what their post. Oh, love from the UK. Oh, what's up, Dom?
Love from the UK, yeah.
What's up,
What
Dom?
did everybody's post-draft recap come out as? I came out in 4th place.
I got third. I came out getting 3rd.
Okay, that's respectable.
You know, you showed me how to look up that recap.
You're the 3 seed, but you're gonna win it all.
No, I didn't say that.
I got a draft grade of B.
I'm home going tonight against the Texans, so I can't be too sad if he goes a little too off.
Yeah, I got David Johnson in our league going off. And this is a crazy thing. When you're in multiple leagues, you have guys playing against each other. You have a guy going in every single matchup.
I'll take a shot every like 5 minutes next podcast. I don't know about shirtless. I don't think they're ready for that, Rick.
And then I have Edwards-Helaire going today. That's the one that I'm the most nervous about because he's a rookie. It's all of
he's plus 600 to score first.
All of this hype surrounding him.
David Johnson
first. And then what if Darrell Williams ends up out-snapping him, which I think
I don't think they waste that draft pick. I think he's gonna get the work. But it's crazy how high he was going in drafts, right?
In fantasy, yes, it's crazy.
It's almost sometimes.
That's crazy. Honestly, I saw ESPN. They do that war room draft with everybody that is involved in the fantasy and NFL. And Louis Riddick, he drafted Clyde Edwards-Helaire with his number 1 pick.
Damn,
he picked him over CMC.
I saw in a draft yesterday they did Elliott over CMC, but I mean it was filled with Cowboys.
Yeah,
Dak went in the first round.
Hell yeah. I don't know about Dak in the first. I took Dak pretty early in the draft.
He landed like the 3rd round, bro.
I took him in maybe like the 5th or 6th round. But my bold, I don't even know how bold it is because Dak was the number 2 fantasy quarterback last year. But I'm predicting that Dak is going to finish the year as the number 1 fantasy quarterback. Doesn't necessarily mean that he's the best quarterback in the league or anything, but he's going to have the most fantasy points when it's all said and done. That's
who I ended up drafting.
That's a good pick, Jess. I think he's going to.
I ended up with a B draft grade.
Okay, so you just found it right now. What?
Yeah, but I don't know how to see everybody else's.
I don't know how to see everybody else's either.
Everybody else's what?
Draft grades.
Oh yeah, no, it gets emailed to you.
I know India got last place probably. She's drafting crazy. So, India, if you're listening, didn't say anything draft night, but you were drafting crazy out there. Honestly,
was she the first to take it?
India, Roland didn't have the guts to say while you were on live, India.
But hey,
when you're not here to defend yourself, he's gonna blast you.
I saw her in the comments a little earlier.
It was the reach on draft night, India. Roland waited till the next episode.
Yeah, no, well, I'm letting you know now. It's on record. But hey, who knows? This is all the fun thing about fantasy football. It's like with these preseason projections and all of that, it could all be out the window within 2 weeks. Like for me, for example, last year I drafted Damian Williams in the 2nd round last year because of his projections and what they thought he was going to do and that offense. Dude didn't even last a week as a starter. Yeah. And then didn't even get to the regular season as a starter. LaShawn McCoy popped up out of nowhere. And I'm like, what the hell? So that stuff can always happen. Who knows who's going to bust out this year? Who's going to be a bust? Who's not? Nobody really does. But all you can try and do is, at least what I tell myself is two things that you really want to do, or three things. You don't want to mess up one of your first two picks. You need one of your first two
Absolutely
picks,
not.
both of your first two picks to be dependable.
Do not reach.
You want that set in stone. You don't want to have to worry about those guys. Secondly, you want to avoid the injury bug. If you can avoid the injury bug, you're already doing better than the person who got caught by it or by somebody who's affected by injuries. So you're already in a good spot. And then the third thing is
the thing about the injury bug is that really something you can avoid.
It is.
Avoid
it is
though.
something you can avoid. It is. You want to know why? Because the same fucking guys get injured.
That's kind of like on them.
The same guys get injured every year.
History.
I get
There's an injury history for a reason. You kind of know going into the draft who has a lingering injury, who has this or that. You know which injuries are lingering. You know the hamstring. If they have a hamstring going into the year and they play week 1 and it doesn't go good, you can almost bet that that hamstring injury is going to be going on the whole year because they don't have enough time to heal it. The second one that's a stick around is the ankle injury. The ankle. If they have a messed up ankle and they're trying to play on that from week to week, it's going to become a messy situation. So, yeah, I think the injury bug is avoidable for the most part. There's always going to be the freak injuries that you can't account for. A guy who's never had an injury his whole fucking life, and he tears his ACL or whatever in the second or third week of the season. Hope that doesn't happen, but it always tends to happen at least once or twice a year. So it's going to be really interesting to see how the season starts. I'm going to be plugged in watching this game 1 to see how it goes, because I'm interested to see, A, the quality of play with no preseason, and B, whether or not we see any injuries because of no preseason or anything, or the players just benefit from having all this rest and being, I guess, super duper fresh. I don't know, because they don't play a lot in the preseason to begin with, but you got to think that that's less miles that they've been putting on their legs this whole time. So
what was the over-under for the football game tonight?
I don't have it off the top, but I can pull it up real quick.
I think in the 50s, right, with both of those offenses.
And 54. I think I saw 54.
What do you? I'm kind of scared, like you mentioned, because of the preseason games.
Over under 53.5.
Oh, it's gone down then.
Plus minus 10.5 for the spread.
You're thinking under 54.5?
I'm thinking under.
On under 54.5.
That, and the other thing too is this could go either way, but you got to think that the Texans are going to have a lot of working around to do. There's a lot of new faces in that offense.
Yep, we're going to figure out if Will Fuller's the number 1 tonight or not. Brandon Cooks, like you said, on a soft tissue injury. Brandon Cooks had something come up like usual, and he's playing. But
this was out there a lot today. But let's see if any of you guys know or saw it. If you saw it, you saw it. What, or if you know, maybe. How old is Brandon Cooks?
26. Been on 3 teams.
I don't know, 31.
26.
He's asking about a Texan, bro. I got us.
4 1,000-yard seasons.
Yep.
Already.
But those couple of concussions will get everybody fucking off of him.
The one that always.
He's been nothing but production, bro. Let's not forget 2 teams have traded first-round picks for the guy, bro. So, I mean, that tells you all you need to know.
Yeah, and I accidentally got disconnected from a fantasy draft for a couple of minutes last week. I just, something happened. I'm not going to go into details, but I was away. And I come back, and lo and behold, I have both fucking Brandon Cooks and Will Fuller on my team.
Damn it, boy. Start them both tonight.
Holy crap, man. And it's in my biggest money league that I'm in, and I let that happen. I mean, I have nobody to blame for myself, but I'm hoping that something comes of that mishap. Like one of them goes off, and I can trade one of them or something. But
who are some of the fantasy guys that you all expect to have good weeks this week? Kind of under the radar guys.
Under the radar, I don't know if I have one.
Like Deshaun Jackson?
But somebody that I do think will have I just had his that's going to have a good week 1. I'm looking for the matchup here.
I think Deshaun Jackson is going to eat against the Washington defense with Rager out and Alshon Jeffrey out. Ward Jr. is the number 2 to Deshaun. And Deshaun usually blows up week 1s. Last year, week 1, he had 2 touchdowns, 140 yards, and 7 receptions.
I like that.
So I like Deshaun this week.
Man, I don't have an under the radar pick, honestly.
David Johnson's going to get in the end zone.
You got to think he has to. Somebody from the Texans is going to. It's either him or Deshaun Watson.
It might be Fells, and Fells didn't get drafted by anybody, but he finished as a number 8 tight end last year.
He's a big target too.
Yeah.
The one tight end that I found myself with that I didn't know much about this year, but after looking back at how he finished last year, he's a big name coming into this year. Is Tyler Higbee is a guy that I think might go off.
That was Hard Knocks hype too, though.
I didn't watch Hard Knocks this year.
Neither did I, but people that did were Higbee scored a touchdown in one of the scrimmages on Hard Knocks that I heard of. So he was kind of hyped up due to Hard Knocks. Like when the Browns were on there and when teams are on there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe
exactly.
That's my sleeper pick. I think Tyler Higbee is going to score a touchdown against the Cowboys today.
Not
today, on Sunday. Yeah.
Higbee plays for the Rams or the Chargers?
Rams. He plays for the Rams.
Oh, shit. I thought he was on the Chargers.
No, he plays for the Rams. He's going to score a touchdown against the Cowboys. They're going to lose to the Cowboys.
Has a fantasy question for you all. Before we get to Mondo's question real quick, he says Gallup or Hardman tonight.
Gallup or who?
But that's Joby. Second year of fantasy for you, baby.
So what did he ask?
He said Hardman or Gallup this week.
Oh, Gallup.
Gallup.
Don't even think about it.
He said he went with Gallup. I don't believe him, but he'll switch him later.
Good pick. And Miles Sanders, from what I'm seeing, he got limited practice in today and yesterday. So tomorrow is going to be the true indicator, I think.
I wasn't a fan of the Miles Sanders just because, like you mentioned, like drafting guys with prior existing injuries coming into the season.
Yes, that can be troublesome.
And the Eagles tend to split it up. Like, even if it's Boston Scott, like they'll find somebody to give carries to, bro.
He had a limited practice today. He's going to play. But if you're an owner of Miles Sanders, if you don't already have him and he didn't get drafted, which I think he got drafted in about all leagues that I was in, look at picking up Boston Scott. Look at Corey Clement, at least for week 1, because they're going to share the rock. It's not going to be the Miles Sanders show week 1. They're going to ease him. They're going to ease him into it. They're not going to risk hurting him week 1. So I have Miles Sanders. The injury I don't like, but I was really big on him as being a player that could break out in 2020 or 2021. So I do own some Miles Sanders in my fantasy on my fantasy teams. I did about 4 or 5 leagues this year, and I have him in 2. But I do have him backed up with Boston Scott in both. So
you did grab him then, Ron?
Yeah, I grabbed Boston Scott because I knew going in, because I was in that position where I was either going to take Miles Sanders or I was going to reach for another running back. And I didn't want to go receiver in the first round because to me, I thought this year more than any other, you needed to grab one of those running backs. And Miles Sanders, they did. Miles Sanders was that guy there. As much as I didn't want to do it, I picked him, but I made sure to go back and pick up Boston Scott on the back end in case.
Over Josh Jacobs and Joe Mixon, you took Miles Sanders?
Yeah, because that's how high I am on him in terms of his talent and what I expect for him with no injury to be able to do. And I like his offense more than both of those. Joe Mixon on the Bengals and what was the other one that you brought up? I just blanked out.
I said Mixon and who the fuck did I?
Josh Jacobs with the Raiders.
I like Josh Jacobs a lot, bro, because they actually let go of a couple of running backs like Washington. The pass catching backs. So I think that they're going to give Jacobs a lot of work this coming year. I think that he's gonna have the potential to break into the top 5 draft picks for next year.
I was surprised. That's a good call. I was surprised in looking back at his stats from last year that they didn't break him into the passing game as much. He had less than 30 catches last year. He had less than.
Who are your other options, Mondo? Give us some context.
Yeah, Mondo. If you have other options, you can hold on to him. If you have his cuff, you can hold on to him. But if you can't,
starting this week, I mean, they're also playing the Redskins. Like, how many snaps do you expect him to get? Because we don't expect that game to be very competitive. So you also got to think about that. Like Roland said, they're probably going to ease him in.
Yeah.
Then.
So
the Washington football team, yes, I got it.
There you go.
I have the chief of the Navajos over here, Joby.
I get canceled.
Mondo, options, Mondo. Who are your options?
I have to play my phone.
He's typing.
This game's pretty sloppy, man.
We got some division games this week. We got
the Colts play the Jags.
Colts are 8-point favorites. I thought that was pretty sizable, but they're going to Jacksonville.
New York and Buffalo playing. You got Chicago and Detroit playing. Philadelphia.
All right. Speaking of Buffalo, right now, who wins the AFC East?
Buffalo.
It's Jags.
The Jags. Oh wow.
No,
Justin.
he's still
Arizona and San Francisco.
naming off teams. He said Colts and Jags. He's still talking about division rivals. It's because Justin, you're breaking up. Like every time you talk, it's skipping.
I have the Patriots.
Cisco's another.
I think they win it one more time. They get it one more time.
My bad. I was going to have issues, intermittent issues.
But my whole thing is, if it's close and it comes down to one game against each other, who's going to win? The Patriots or the Bills? I'm going to have to side with Billy O.B., with Bill Belichick. I'm going to have to side with him. So that's kind of where I'm going. I know they had a lot of players leave with COVID and opt out, so that does give me some worry. But I'm going to say Cam Newton has a good comeback year, potential comeback player of the year, Cam Newton. You heard it here first.
That's a good possibility, pal.
And he's going to take the Patriots to the playoffs. I don't know how much more they do, but Cam Newton gets the Patriots to the playoffs. You heard it here first.
Hey, Mondo, in that situation, bro, that's a foul. The running back for the Bears was banged up. I believe Montgomery, right, is the one that they have. So he's banged up. If he doesn't play, I would start Cohen. But if Montgomery does play, I would go with James White. I think that's check down city right there. And I'm sure the league you're playing in has some sort of PPR points. Wow. I can't hear you, Roland. Wow, that's a terrible call. That's a terrible call, man. To give a guy his third foul on that bullshit? Come on, man. I told you they could have just thrown Scott Foster out here. All right, I guess we're going to end this because I can't hear you, Roland. I can't hear you.
Roland, your mic is muted on the screen.
I'm muted. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now we can hear you.
Yeah, what I was saying, Mondo, I would go James White this week over Miles Sanders, no matter what. James White's going to eat against Miami.
If Montgomery doesn't play, I think Cohen could get a lot of work, though.
Yeah, no, I agree, too. I agree.
Because a lot of people are expecting Anthony Miller to get a lot of receptions.
Yeah, damn, Mondo, you got a lot of Miles Sanders in fantasy this year. I hope for you and me both that hamstring is not fucking lingering. I'll be pissed if it is. I hate that.
Josh, so Poirier and Ferguson are not fighting? Oh my God.
Hamstring injuries that's the worst two words in football. Hamstring injury. Hate it. Can't stand it. Little dirty considering Dustin gave us fight of the year. I agree. I agree. I don't know kind of what the inner workings of that are. You never really know what the truth is with the UFC and what's going on and who doesn't want to pay who's asking for this, who's being given what. But you got to think a lot of people are going to want to tune in and watch that fight. Justin Poirier versus Tony Ferguson. I'd want to watch that fight 100%, and I'd pay for it too. So I see where Justin Poirier is coming from. And I don't think Justin Poirier would come out and be unreasonable either. He comes across as a company man, comes across pretty rational, but he just wants to get paid, like he deserves to get paid. You can go into the who's the A side or who's the B side in that matchup and who deserves what. But in this fight in particular, I think everybody is paying to see both fighters because it takes two to tango. And you need Justin Poirier for that to be an electric matchup, in my opinion. So
it's crazy that they wouldn't pay him. I mean, I wonder how much he was asking for.
Probably championship money, I would imagine. I wonder how much he got paid for his one fight as the champion versus Khabib. Speaking of Khabib, how do you feel about Dana White saying that he's going to start that card earlier? As to appease to the European audience.
That he's going to start it earlier because of
the European audience.
Oh. I mean, earlier, but it's not going to be like in the middle of the night for us either. I think it's just going to be like 2 p.m. for us.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, I think it might be that. I don't know how early.
It's just going to be an early one, baby.
I don't know how early it's going to be. But he did say at least a few hours for these guys. I'll get a beer right now, Rexa. I will, before we log off, because I'm about to go have dinner right now, but I'll chug a beer. Just 1 second.
Yeah, they're playing like shit, man. Hey, we got to talk about the game a little bit from what we've seen. The Rockets are playing like shit. Caruso, it looks like it's going to be Caruso night. It was Morris at first. Then it was Rondo. Tonight, Caruso has 6 points on some bullshit layups. And anytime that Harden sits down and it's the Hardenless minutes, is just not good minutes for the Rockets. Pretty much because Daniel House isn't out there, in my opinion.
Ben has his infinity stone of excuses.
Very lackadaisical, yes. That's the Houston Rockets.
Thanos.
Lackadaisical, and when they're double teaming you, like you can't be lackadaisical when they're double teaming you, bro. Get the pass off. So yeah.
So we got the Rockets are the 4 seed. We're not supposed to be here. This is Cinderella excuse. We got that one baked in already.
Hell nah. We're supposed to be ranked higher. So I can't use that one. We're supposed to be ranked higher. I'm not using that.
We got Daniel House.
Bro, you know they're doing Daniel House dirty, bro.
We got Daniel House.
Trolling aside, bro. You know that they're doing the man dirty, bro.
Yeah, they are doing him dirty. I admit it, but you have to adhere to the COVID protocols, man. You just have to. That's the rules of business, man.
They make rules for a reason. We didn't need to see this shit.
That's nice. Rexa, Ben has said you're into hockey. Who do you got winning the Stanley Cup?
Knights, bro, but he's Homer City. You could call him Homer Simpson when you're talking to him about sports.
So the Knights are fairly new though. So I mean, they just come about. He's from that area. I would go for them too.
Yeah, but he was going for he's from Pittsburgh. He's like a Penguins fan and Sid the Kid. And then we were in Virginia, so he liked the Capitals, and now he's in San Diego, so he rocks with Vegas.
Wow, Rexa, you got to defend yourself here, man. Your boys.
He keeps 3 teams on deck in each sport.
Damn. Sounds like somebody I know.
Football, he's a big Steelers fan because James Conner is from where he. Oh, damn! Knights game 7. Wow.
Okay. I like that.
What
Tampa
a block.
is playing the Islanders right now.
Yeah, they're up 2-0 on the Islanders right now.
And the Knights are playing against who?
That one. The Knights are playing against the Canucks. Vancouver Canucks.
Okay.
I like the Capitals. Man, the same time you liked the Orioles when we were in the East Coast.
Wow. Rexa, I hope none of that's true. Ben
All up
tends
on
to embellish a little bit, but
Rexa, now you're a Padres fan, bro. Come on. Don't act like you ain't got 3 teams on deck in every sport. Get out of here.
wow, there's a pretty damning accusation right there, Rexa. I don't know about that. But let's answer Gabe's question here. Gabe, I'm going to need a little bit more context, like we told Mondo. Who else do you have?
Flex him?
What are your options? I think CeeDee Lamb's going to be a great fantasy option. I don't know how reliable he's going to be. He's going to be right in that wide receiver 3 range. But if you don't have a better option, which I'd be interested to see what your options are. Yeah, I think CD is a good matchup. The Rams, they do have Jalen Ramsey, who just signed that huge contract. But other than that, you got to think that defense is right for the picking when it comes to Michael Gallup having his chance and CeeDee Lamb. The only problem that you run into, and this is a problem that you have with anybody that's not named Zeke on the Cowboys, is there's a lot of mouths to fill. There's Amari Cooper. There's CeeDee Lamb. There's Michael Gallup now. Zeke gets passes out of the backfield. So there's some uncertainty there, but the one thing that you can rest easy on is that the offense on paper is as explosive as it's been in a while. So there should be a ton of points to go around.
I would start those 3 guys over Lamb, Gabe.
Yeah, I think you're fine with that as well.
Again, Joby says hot take, Rams win week 1.
You didn't have to say that on air. Could have just waited.
Joby's hating ass at its finest, baby.
Could have just waited. It's fine.
Been Rockets hate all damn day.
Whatever, Joby. That's fine.
Joby was the guy that bet you that the Texans beat the Ravens straight up, bro.
What was that bet again? What was the bet again?
Y'all bet like $25 straight up. You have the Ravens, he has the Texans. No points involved.
They play each other this year?
Yeah, week 2.
Oh, that's right. Now I remember. now.
Yeah.
Thank you for reminding me. All right, Joby. We're gonna have some talking to do next week.
Joby.
I saw Colin Coherd, your boy, Colin. I hope he's
Horton Tucker just hit a 3, bro. Who's Horton Tucker?
Relay this to him. His boy, Colin Coherd, has the Ravens going 16-0. He predicted that. Really.
Joby, Roland says that your boy Colin Cowherd, your disciple, you're one of his disciples, he has the Ravens going 16-0. He heard, but he's standing by Colin.
Ben.
He stands by Colin.
Ben.
Yeah.
We got 12 minutes left. Let's go over the UFC.
Yeah.
For
Let's do
the
it.
contest, we took a week off last week, but dude, who the fuck is Horton Tucker, bro? All of a sudden, this guy's getting minutes. Damn it. David Johnson's getting in the end zone tonight, man. The Karate Hottie is fighting Angela Hill. That's going to be the main event for the fight night this weekend. Pretty good matchup, I guess. You could say fan favorites for 2 separate reasons. Angela Hill actually for her fighting style, and Karate Hottie for her IG page. Angela Hill's coming off that bad robbery. I would call it a robbery. I think, wasn't it Claudia Gadelia that she fought? And she beat, but they gave Gadelia the decision. I expect Hill to be able to keep it standing up and beat up Watterson standing up. So I'm going to go with Angela Hill on that one. I don't have the line on me right now.
Yeah, I'm going Angela Hill. I love Angela Hill. I love how active she is as a fighter. I love her fighting style. She doesn't really mess around. She goes straight at you, doesn't hide. As Ben said, I thought she beat Claudia Gadelia. That's part of the reason why I'm not in the lead right now, because of that that bullshit call that Ben benefited from and getting Claudia Gadelha, even though we all know that Angela Hill won that fight, which I said and I suggested we should all just go ahead and make things right ourselves. Give whoever picked Angela Hill the victory.
You can miss me with that bullshit, bro.
And give Claudia pickers and whoever picked Claudia the loss.
Negative.
That's really what should happen here. But give me Angela Hill, baby. Let's go. Let's get on the train. Let's get a victory here. Let's get it. Dana cannot hide her from that rematch. I'm sorry. She needs to fight Claudia Gadelha again.
I think that she needs Watterson. I don't think she needs to go through the rematch, to be honest. Because
but yeah, dude, she's gonna have to, because you already know the UFC is gonna use that to keep Claudia Gadelha propelled above Angela Hill.
I think she's kind of washed as far as like all those title shots and shit. Like the Debbie had her chances
because it would be a shame.
Hill has people watching. I mean, kind of weird to say, but like people like her, you know.
Mm-hmm. I like her too. I like Angela Hill a lot.
The other fight that we got two more fights. Wow, Danny Green, Matt the Steamroller Favola. He's coming in as a pretty big underdog to Frank the Crank Camacho. So Camacho, mostly a stand-up fighter. Favola, we know that he fought Luke in Luke's first appearance in the Contender and has gone 2-1 in the UFC, I believe is his record. I think that there's value on Favola at plus 200 in this one. I think Camacho can knock him out if it stays standing up, but I don't expect it to stay standing too long. So I'm going to go with Favola and the underdog in this one.
Man, I think he's fighting Roosevelt Roberts.
Roosevelt Roberts is fighting. That's right.
He's fighting Brock Weaver. So it's Roosevelt Roberts against Brock
Weaver's opponent has Rona.
Oh, Brock Weaver was going to get his ass kicked too, so he got kind of lucky. All right, so then I'm still going to go with Favola against Roberts. Roosevelt Roberts coming off that armbar loss to Jim Miller, where he was a pretty heavy favorite against Jim Miller, and in the first round he got taken to the ground and he got his arm caught. So I'm going to go with the value in Favola as a plus 200, plus 250 dog.
Give me Roosevelt Roberts. He's going to right us wrong from the last fight. He came into that fight as a sizable favorite, which I thought rightfully so, but he kind of got – I can't think of the right phrase, but he came across a veteran who knew exactly what he was doing in that octagon.
That's fair.
So
that's fair.
I'm going to go Roosevelt Roberts here to right us wrong. Let's go, baby.
All right. And the last fight that we were going over, shit. Justin, can you pop back in here and remind me, bro?
I have it. Hold on.
It should be Modafferi and Andrea Lee.
Nah.
Favola Roberts and Watterson and Hill.
Oh, it was because Modafferi and Lee. Modafferi's coming off of a pretty brutal loss. She beat Macy Barber and then she lost. I can't remember the name right now, but it was a pretty bad fight, and I was on her.
She wins one, loses one.
Yeah, she kind of has that pattern, right? Angela Lee, I'm not a big fan. KGB Lee, I think she's a racist. So I'm just going to go with Modafferi.
This fight currently doesn't have a line from what I can tell. So I usually use that to guide me and where I should be looking here. But I like Roxanne Modafferi and her aura and kind of the way she carries herself. She's
Rainbow Warrior.
Yeah, Rainbow Warrior. She's a happy-go-lucky kind of person. I just like her vibes. So yeah, I'm going with Roxanne Modafferi, and she's a big fighter. She's a big girl in terms of how tall she is. She's taller than most opponents that she goes into the octagon with. And just real quick before we let it go today, the line on the Hill and Watterson fight is essentially a pick'em. You got Hill as a slight favorite at minus 115 and Watterson as a small dog at plus 105.
Okay.
The other fight
and Roberts.
And the other fight, I'm pulling it up right now. Wow. Okay, Matt Favola is a slight favorite minus 110, and you catch even odds on Roosevelt Roberts.
So then I was really thinking about Camacho's opponent. That was plus 2 some. All right. So Frivola's minus 110.
Okay. And then after this one, what's that?
Modafferi and Lee?
That one's not lined. So somebody's a big favorite in that one. I don't know who would be the favorite. But next week, though, we got a pretty good fight night. I know we're going to wrap it up right now, coming to an end here on the live podcast. We're at just about an hour here. We've been joining you guys watching the first half of the Rockets and the Lakers. What are we on? Game 4 right now?
Game 4.
12
Lakers are up 13.
0 Rockets.
On their way to going going up in the series 3-1. Ben said that he was going to start exclusively tweeting off of his burner. If this happened, we still don't have the handle, but we're not going to see Big Ben Diaz or Big Pat 44 on Twitter for the foreseeable future.
Hey, I don't hide, man. I don't hide.
Depending how this game goes.
I don't hide. I'll catch a Chiefs fan right now and start
talking. Some things to look forward to and to leave you guys with before we log off. We have that we talking about Sports Fantasy Football League. We'll be providing updates. The first football games tonight, Chiefs versus Texans. You got the Chiefs getting the rings.
I play Rexa.
What's that?
I play Rexa, and I got Patty Mahomes going.
I play Diego. Taka Brown. I don't know what he's trying to do with his name there.
I got Ron week 1.
You got Ron? Easy.
Okay. We got some good. The podcast can't go 0-3. We can't go 0-3. One of us has to get a dub in our matchup. But we got some pretty good NFL matchups. College football comes back. A lot of conference matchups. As we all know, the colleges that are playing have decided just to play amongst their conferences. So ACC is playing a full ACC schedule. And others are playing amongst themselves, but the Big 12 is doing one non-conference. So you got Texas, for all you Texas fans out there, playing UTEP. So hopefully they win 49-0.
Wake Forest Clemson should be game of the week, I think.
Texas is back.
Oh, Texas is back.
Nope, not the year. I don't think so either, personally. But that seems to be the common theme after Texas gets a victory in the early preseason. So just threw that joke out there. And then also we got some more UFC next week. We got some more UFC. I'm excited for this next UFC card. We better I think we should do the whole card on the fight night, or at least most of it. You got Donald Cerrone versus Nico Price. That's going to be fireworks. You got Johnny Walker versus Ryan Spann. That should be fireworks. You got Mackenzie Dern making her return. Is it her first fight post-pregnancy or her second fight post-pregnancy?
Coming back she got beat by somebody after her pregnancy.
Second fight post-pregnancy then, right? Got her. Then you got Kevin Holland, he's been trying to be active. Yeah, Kevin Holland, who's there. I'm excited to watch him fight. And then, that's going to lead us to the next big pay-per-view, UFC 253, that we're all extremely excited about. With Costa versus Adesanya, finally. Is that? Yeah, that is the one. You got Costa versus Adesanya.
At the end of the month, though, that's not a fight night.
The 26th. Yeah, exactly. September 26th, UFC 253. Paulo Costa versus Israel Adesanya, and then the other big fight on that card is going to be Jan Blachowicz versus Dominic Reyes for John Jones's left or vacated light heavyweight title. And that shows Dominic Reyes as a slight favorite. Somewhat heavy. Minus 240. You catch a plus 210 taking Jan Blachowicz there. And I like Jan in that fight. I don't know. I think Dominic is
retired for sure.
What's that?
Somebody said Cerrone should have retired. And I agree that Cerrone should. I think Nico Price is going to do some very bad things.
Really? Really? You think this is a bad matchup for Mr. Cerrone?
Bad. I think it just takes one shot and he's done from Nico Price.
Wow. And this Nico Price just got through with a war, though, against, I'm blanking on his name.
Luque.
Who?
He fought Luque.
Vicente Luque. There you go. They just came out of a war, and that one you heard every single shot. That was a brawl. I enjoyed that Nico Price versus Vicente Luque fight a lot. So yeah, that's about it, guys. There's a lot to look forward to. Thank you for everybody that commented, joined in on the live. It was a lot of fun. Glad we got to talk some fantasy, talk some NBA.
Have comeback coming right now, y'all.
All right. If not, you guys know what's going to happen to his Twitter. It's going to be blank. So go and look for that. Go look for that burner because it could get pretty scary for Mr. Diaz tonight. So I don't know.
Hell no.
I'll
Hell,
probably
no,
just
no,
comment exclusively off the we talking about.
Hey, and Daniel House,
up
I
some
feel
more
you, man.
Justin. Justin.
Daniel House, you didn't do anything wrong. If you're taking the fall for somebody, shout out to you. You'll be okay. Probably not going to be on the Rockets next year, but you're going to be okay, man.
Wow.
Laters.